What's up and welcome to Me, You, and Switch 2. I am me, Tom Tate, and you are you. So let's talk about Switch 2. This is the latest and greatest Nintendo Switch 2 news brought to you every Tuesday and Friday in snackable 5 to 10 minute episodes. Today happens to be Tuesday. It is June 9th. This is episode 107. It's 7:52 a.m. on the East Coast, and we are roughly 2 hours away from a 50-minute Nintendo Direct, followed by an even longer kind of Treehouse Live event. Super exciting. This was announced yesterday. If you are new to the podcast, welcome. What a time to be alive. I love Summer Game Fest. I love June. I've always loved June for gaming since the E3 days. I'll probably be back at some point later today, either today, tonight, tomorrow, I'm not sure, with a full recap of the Nintendo Direct. These always seem to land on Tuesdays, right after I record episodes, and then go off to work. So I'll see what I can fit in. We'll see how the workday pans out, but that's okay because there's no shortage of news to cover as of last week, because we had a huge deluge of gaming news from Summer Game Fest, and a lot of it pertains to Switch 2. So Friday nights after I recorded was the formal Summer Game Fest presentation with Jeff Keighley, who hosts the Game Awards. This is kind of his production. And then there was an Xbox presentation on Sunday, plus a few other smaller events kind of throughout the week. Indie events. They did some Day of the Dev event, which was pretty cool. So let's just dive right into some of these headlines. I bookmarked more articles in the past week than ever before in prep for an episode. And then Jim Norman from Nintendo Life puts out an article titled Roundup Every Switch 1 and 2 Announcement from Summer Game Fest's Weekend Showcases. So thank you, Jim. You made prep for this podcast a lot easier, kind of putting that in kind of sequential order. So I'll link to that and others along the way. The main event on Friday night had a lot of games that will release on a variety of consoles. So I'm only going to call out the games that explicitly have a confirmed Switch 2 version. So if you want a full recap on every game, you're probably just going to have to either watch it or watch a different type of recap, because I'm just focused on Switch games. The show opened up with a new Resident Evil title. This was Resident Evil Veronica. It wasn't really clear what this was at first. And then as it started to become clear, you could hear the eruption of the crowd. They were very excited about this one. This was a rumored game. It is a Code Veronica remake using the RE engine that we've come to know and love. Capcom has been crushing it with Switch 2 ports, so no surprise here that this was immediately announced to include a Switch 2 version. So this will be a 2027 release. Up next, we had Mighty Cuphead Adventure. This is an 8-bit platformer from the developers of Cuphead. They came out, they had a quick little segment. It was like a news segment with a little Cuphead puppets. They announced that they're working on a new hand-animated game, but they also announced Mighty Cuphead Adventure. And this is a quote on the official website. It says, programmed in assembly language, Mighty Cuphead Adventure is designed with the precise, authentic specifications of the Sega Master System home gaming console. So this is wild. It will release on modern platforms, right, including Switch 2, but it will also release as a physical cartridge for the Master System. So I grew up with Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo and NES. I never had a Master System, but I'm familiar with those games. And just the fact that it's using the same color palette, the same coding language, this is so cool. I love that they did this, and it's not just a retro throwback. It's an actual retro game. So Mighty Cuphead Adventure is one that's high up on my list. Alien Isolation 2 had a very spooky trailer. I don't think we had a release date on that one. At some point, after showing a bunch of AAA games that are not releasing on Switch, they rolled these little Switch 2 commercials. The first one showcased Adventures of Elliot's, Orbitals, and Starseeker Astroneer Expeditions. And then the second one showcased Final Fantasy XIV Online, Turok Origins, and Armistice. And Armistice, I don't think we've seen for Switch 2 before. This is set to release this winter. Armistice is a new announcement for Switch 2, but the game has been announced. I think they announced it last year, I think. It looks relatively interesting, a little generic, in my humble opinion. Next, Hot Wheels Infinite Rush. That'll release on September 24th. We saw new expansions for Sonic Crossworlds, which is the Sonic racing game, including Neon Genesis Evangelion, which was very cool. This might actually get me interested in buying this thing. Then we saw Attack on Titan 3. This will release on July 1st, 2026. This looks very intense. They announced 4 new fighters for Street Fighter 6, including Tifa from Final Fantasy 7. That was some good fan service. And then immediately after that, they closed out the show with our first look at the third entry in the Final Fantasy 7 Remake trilogy. We learned the title for this game. We knew it was going to be beginning with the letter R, and it does, Final Fantasy 7 Revelation. We got a new look at different locations in the game, locations we expected to see: Mideel, Wutai, the assault on Midgar, the northern crater. I don't think we saw Rocket Town, but I think that'll be another location that we see in this game. We saw a bunch of shots of the weapons, which are these giant protectors of the planet that you have to battle, big, immense battles in the original OG Final Fantasy VII, and they look even 10 times bigger in this game. We saw some battle mechanics for 2 new playable characters, Sid and Vincent. We saw the FITS system, which is essentially your typical RPG job system. And the bonus here is that when you switch jobs, you switch costumes, which is kind of cool. So that was it for the main events. I think, the big reveal of Final Fantasy VII Revelation was kind of to be expected, but we saw it and it looks great. I don't know how they're going to get this running on Switch 2, but they seem to be doing a decent job. So we'll see how it turns out. Considering how much they shared at the game Summer Game Fest, there was not a lot for Switch 2, if I'm being honest. Right. So hopefully some of those games that they announced will start to see Switch 2 editions. Maybe they just didn't firm up the plans yet. Other events included Day of the Devs, Wholesome Games Direct. There was a few others. I won't rattle off everything, but I noticed a few. Super Ukulele Kart looks pretty cool. It's a Super Mario Kart-like. Trine 6, Together in Time. So many cozy games, too. This seems to be the year of cozy game overload. They all look a little similar to me, but Froggy Brews looks really interesting and good. Moomin looks great. I know Moomin is an established property, but that game looks really cool. Sunday afternoon, there was an Xbox event. We saw a fair amount of announcements that also apply to Switch 2, even though it was Xbox. Castlevania Belmont's Curse is hitting multiple platforms on October 15th. We don't know what the Switch release date is for some reason, but hopefully we'll learn that soon. We got a fresh trailer for this. 2D Castlevania action looks absolutely beautiful. I'm excited for this one. We're getting a new Spyro game. A new title in the Spyro series will hit in 2027. That's called Spyro Realm, A Realm Beyond. Seems to be a focus on the flying mechanic. Looks to be like a big chunk of this game. Another 2027 game that we got a first glimpse of was Crazy Taxi World Tour. I will 1000% play a new Crazy Taxi. We got a little teaser, I think, last week. It was like a 5-second teaser. I saw a YouTube clip. This is part of Sega's efforts to revive old franchises. They announced this a couple years ago. They mentioned Crazy Taxi, but this was the first look, and it looks like a great entry in the series. The trailer opened up with the iconic Offspring track from the 1999 original arcade release, and I remember playing this mostly on Dreamcast. Fantastic game. Minecraft Dungeons 2 was showcased. This is planned to release on September 29th. If you liked the first Minecraft Dungeons, this looks to be just more of the same, really. Single-player mode and 4-player co-op. I'm sure I'm missing a few games, but I think that covers the big ones. Finally, just announcements that I bookmarked. I don't know where these originated from. Maybe Day of the Devs, maybe other events. The PC Game Showcase was another one. But Cassette Beasts is officially getting a sequel called Cassette Beasts 2002. And according to Nintendo Life, this is another, quote, this is another Pokemon-inspired creature collector battler where you'll use the magic of your cassette player to transform into and control monsters through a series of turn-based battles. No release date on this one yet, but it is coming to Switch 2. The Mermaid's Mask will hit Switch 2 on July 16th. This is from the developer of Snipper Clips. It's a murder mystery type story. We have a 3D action platformer game called Dusk Fade. This has been announced for some time for other platforms, but we just learned that a Switch 2 edition will release on July or August 13th. This is intended to be kind of a throwback to early 2000s 3D action games like Kingdom Hearts, Jak and Daxter. The action actually looks pretty cool. This is called Dusk Fade. Wo Long 2, Wings of Ember is coming to Nintendo Switch 2. This is from Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja. That'll be sometime in 2027. Vampire Survivors is coming to Switch 2 soon with mouse controls. Star Trek Shadow Frontier is a new title from Bloober Team. They put out some really highly rated horror games over the past few years. This will release on Switch 2 sometime in 2027. At some point this week, we also learned that Digital Eclipse, and we just talked about Digital Eclipse because they announced their Toy Story collection and Toy Story 3 Remaster. They are going to release their next game, which is Barbie Rewind. This is a collection of 16 classic Barbie games released between 1991 and 2007. That'll be in the fall of this year. Okay, that's it. Those are all my headlines. I'm just bubbling over with excitement for a Nintendo Direct. I love it. 10 a.m. Eastern. I will be back with more. I know we're past the 10-minute mark, but I just want to throw out some predictions. So if you can bear with me, I'll keep this under 15 minutes, I promise. You can always turn the episode off right now if you're short for time, but the obvious one is Ocarina of Time, a remake, remaster, whatever you want to call it. This has been the big rumor. Nate the Hate, who has been throwing out these rumors. He has a really good track record. But, what I would really like, I would love an Ocarina of Time remake. I will play it. Maybe I'll play twice. But I almost would love to see something in that universe. So when I think about A Link Between Worlds, which was a game that released on 3DS, that was not a Link to the Past remake, but it was really set in that specific Hyrule with that style of gameplay, with similar nods to the art. Like, it was a spiritual successor to A Link to the Past. And I would love to see a full-on 2026, 2027, whenever it comes out, remake of Ocarina of Time that isn't Ocarina of Time, but like a spiritual successor to Majora's Mask. Like, have it be set in that specific Hyrule, show me all the same characters, all the same mechanics, level it up a little bit, but I think that would be really cool. Like, I would love to revisit Ocarina of Time, but I don't need to play the same story beat for beat, but I absolutely will if that's what they give us. Maybe it'll be aligned to the original because the movie is also coming out next year, and just from some of the casting, we know that there's going to be Gorons, we know that there's going to be certain characters, so like maybe the movie is aligned to the Ocarina of Time story, so it's good to get new players familiar with the franchise in that way, so that you're almost priming them for the movie, the success of the movie. I think that would be good timing too from a marketing perspective, if I put my marketing hat on, but we'll see. So Zelda, I think we'll see Zelda in some form today. I do not think we'll see a traditional Mario title like an Odyssey or Galaxy. Maybe we'll see something new. Maybe we'll see Mario Maker 3 with mouse controls. Maybe we'll see Mario Paint or something quirky like that. Maybe we'll see, who knows? Like, maybe we'll see something new with Mario, but I don't think we're going to see a traditional Mario title like the next Odyssey or Galaxy or whatever. I think we'll see Splatoon Raiders. I think we'll see some Star Fox, not a lot, but just a little bit, just to let people know that, hey, this is coming. We'll see, like, what the summer lineup looks like. I will probably see more Orbitals. It seems like they're pushing that a lot. We'll probably see like little clips of a lot of the games that they already mentioned at the other Summer Game Fest events. I see a lot of people online hoping for like the next 2D style Metroid. Maybe we'll get that. A new Wario game, whether it's like WarioWare or like Wario Land, something like that. Maybe we'll get something like that. I'm not sure. I am wondering, though, from third parties, if we'll see some of the games that were announced over the past week or so, but they were not announced with the Switch 2 edition. So there were a couple indie games that I thought were really, really cool that would play well on Switch 2. Vivarium was one. This was shared at the Xbox event. Visually, it looks like it's heavily inspired by Studio Ghibli animation style. I really appreciate the art style here. It's very cool, very animated. You live in a terrarium, and the mechanics seem like typical cozy game stuff. You're cooking, you're harvesting crops, you're cleaning, you're doing all that stuff. But the story seemed a little bit more unique, and of course, the art style was very cool. Bad Magpie was another game. This was also shared at the Xbox event, I think. This was kind of like Untitled Goose Game, but you're a bird. And here's the description for this one from Steam. You are a magpie with one wing, a missing flock, and an unhealthy obsession with a fallen star. Steal shiny trinkets, cause chaos, and stick your beak where it doesn't belong. This game looked like a lot of fun. Into the Wind was another one. This was another like Studio Ghibli inspired game. Looked really, really cool. A lot of Star Wars that I feel like should be coming to Switch 2, but isn't yet, not announced. So we have Star Wars Zero Company. This is a turn-based style Star Wars game coming out in August. It would play really well in Switch 2. Star Wars Galactic Racer is coming out in October. I will be shocked if this doesn't come to Switch 2 in some form. Galactic Racer looks like it will appeal to that mass audience. I'm also wondering if Square or Capcom held anything back. I wouldn't be shocked if we see like Visions of Mana for Switch 2. That game came out a couple years ago. Maybe that's not direct worthy, but I think that will come to Switch 2 eventually. Kingdom Hearts 4 was notably absent. We probably won't see Kingdom Hearts 4, but that would be ridiculous. Chrono Cross got a re-release not too long ago. The Chrono Cross is on Switch. Like you can play Chrono Cross today on Switch. You can buy it. So is there another Chrono game that could be dropped today? The World Ends With You is another franchise that also got re-released. So are they trying to keep these franchises alive? We'll never know. Well, maybe we will know. We'll find out today. The Wolf Among Us 2 and Wolf Among Us Remastered was showcased. That would be awesome on Switch. Hitman Classic Trilogy. Halo Campaign Evolved is coming to PlayStation, PS5. So could you imagine a Halo coming to Nintendo? That would be wild. They've been talking about Xbox games coming to Nintendo. The Last Ronin is a Ninja Turtles game that I am super excited for. This might have actually been what I've been most excited for out of everything I saw at Summer Game Fest. The Last Ronin. They didn't even show any gameplay, but they revealed that The Last Ronin, which is a Ninja Turtle property, it's a little dark. It's based on a comic. It's going to be developed by Platinum Games, and they did Bayonetta. And I just have a lot of faith in them to make an amazing Ninja Turtles game. So The Last Ronin looks great. Persona 4 and 6 were announced, and they didn't have Switch associated with them, and I'd be shocked if they didn't come to Switch 2. So we'll see. We'll see what we get in just a few hours. I'll be back later today or tomorrow or whenever with a full recap. Again, like these are going to be long episodes. I apologize. I know the spirit of the show is 5 to 10 minutes long. We're already past 17 and a half minutes, but I'm telling you, like, this is the best time of the year for games, so I'm going to make the most out of it. Thanks for sticking with me. If you enjoy the show, a kind rating or review helps me continue to grow. You can hit me up on Blue Sky or Instagram at Switch2Pod. That's Switch with the number 2 pod. Switch2pod.com for all the things. Patreon.com/Switch2Pod for free bonus content. I do not have a paid tier over there. You can, sign up for free. I will keep that bonus content flowing. Enjoy the day. It's going to be a fun one. Much love. Now go play some games.